the deciders.
Good evening from Dayton, Ohio. E pluribus unum, from many to one. We are a country of many backgrounds, religions, political views. That includes our views on the man in the White House. Some say he's divisive. Others say he's a savior. But as someone who spent his career believing in American democracy, I came here tonight to see if we can't listen to each other for a change, understand where each side is coming from, and leave this place with at least knowing better why we disagree, and maybe where we can actually agree. I'm joined here for the hour by a group of voters in Montgomery County, Ohio, a place that backed Barack Obama twice, then voted for Donald Trump. My colleague Cal Perry has more on this swing county.
Dayton, Ohio, like much of America these days, has conflicting views on the state of American politics.
Trump all the way.
Why did you vote for Trump?
I think I know he's for the people.
And it's hard to make a living out here, and they took that away from a lot of us.
You're still a Trump guy?
Absolutely.
Why?
Oh, I think he's great for the economy. Absolutely, no question.
People say, oh, but jobs are coming back. Jobs are coming back.
Jobs coming back for who?
Areas of blight still exist in a city hit hard by an economic depression, but some new businesses are coming back here. And Ohio, like many Midwestern states, is up for grabs. Trump supporters want to highlight the good, frame things within the context of an economic turnaround, while Democrats need to turn out the vote in places feeling disenfranchised with the political system.
Well, to Ohio, we got to get back to the basics. We got to get out here, we got to talk to the voters.
And so we did, in McIntosh Park with the president of the NAACP here in Dayton, Derek Ford.
Think about the number of people that is that can change an election cycle right here in the city of Dayton, right here in Montgomery County, Ohio, right here in the great Buckeye City of Ohio. No, don't worry about the electoral college. Don't worry about the electoral college. No, I know that's what you're going to do. That it don't matter.
Donald Trump visited Ohio over 24 times during his presidential campaign. Montgomery County twice.
Hi!
Hillary Clinton never came here. It's something that local Democrats are keenly aware of.
In 2016, it was the first time since 1988 that the Democratic nominee did not come to this region. And so you got to come, and you got to be here, and you got to be present.
Republicans will point to stats like low unemployment. Most recent numbers put it at 3.2% in Montgomery County.
People a lot of times vote with their pocketbooks. The economy is great. You know, we have employers here that can't find employees.
Complicating matters here, Montgomery County ranks third in the nation in synthetic opioid deaths.
This neighborhood has been decimated by the drugs. It's the worst hit area we had. We lost a lot of citizens here, but we need to get them back in the workforce. We need to clean their records.
Democrats here say unemployment statistics alone are not the whole story.
Well, for this city, I think it's really about getting high quality, good paying jobs. You know, we have a lot of people working 2 and 3 jobs because they can't make it on what they're making. And with the restructure of manufacturing over the past 30 years, that's really had a real effect on this region.
So jobs are coming back, but they're not high enough paying jobs.
Right. You can find a job. It's not that. The pay is so low that some people are still on benefits while they're working, which is really hard.
At Gordon's Pawn Shop on East 3rd Street, economic success is measured in what people are selling or not selling. Mark Gordon, the owner, is a Trump supporter.
So we're like a pendulum. When the economy is good, the customers aren't coming in as often.
So things are getting better then?
Yeah, so for our customers' sake, we're seeing a lot of our customers getting employment, and we didn't see that a while ago.
But for people like DeAndre Fields, economic indicators are entirely worthless.
There's no candidate that's coming down here trying to connect with us on a personal level to see what's going on in the West Side, to see what we need.
For the next hour, we're going to hear from Democrats and Republicans, Trump supporters, and critics Our location tonight is Mendelssohn's Warehouse, a family-owned surplus store in downtown Dayton, Ohio. So let's get started. Joining me right now is Stacy Benson, the Dayton Regional Director for AFSCME, a public employee union. She's a Democrat and previously worked at the GM plant here in Dayton. She also worked in the Public Defender's Office. To my right is Kate Geiger, a freelance graphic designer and long-time Dayton resident. She also worked at the GM assembly plant until it was closed down in 2008. She's a Republican who voted for President Trump. So let's just start here right now. Does President Trump care about people like you?
I don't believe so. I believe that President Trump cares about the 1%, people who earn like he earns or earns like his friends and family earns, doesn't care about working families. And that's my concern. Working families, good wages, good living wages and benefits.
How many people agree with that? It's only the top one. Just how many people don't agree with that? You, sir, in the red, I want to hear what you're thinking right now. I see your point of view already. And tell me why you think Trump looks out for regular or middle-class people or whatever. So not just the 1%.
So first of all, just a name very quickly.
Bob?
Bob.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You just continually hear about 1%ers, and I keep hearing that in the political discussions, but in my mind, rich or if you take some away, they're going to be rich anyways, or they're going to find a way. So it's not like you're getting rid of a demographic that, or really affecting them, that's going to make any difference. So
you think Trump looks out for you?
Absolutely.
He cares about you?
Yeah. I think he's honest. I think he's true.
Okay. Anybody else want to agree or sorry, you want to say what you think? I go by faces. No, the face in front of you, sir. Your face. Well,
Sure.
Go ahead. I like the other face better, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Mike Onadakis, I think absolutely the President of the United States cares about all of us because he provides opportunities. Look, there's 300-some million people in America. He doesn't make a relationship with every single one of us, but what he does do is create opportunities so then we can use our God-given talents to go out and make a living in this country, and that's where we are today.
Okay, thank you. Before I go to Kate Geiger, I want to go to somebody who disagrees back there. With the, can you get a mic to them?
I feel like the president doesn't even care about 1%. I just think all he cares about is his little Romanov family cluster and nothing past that.
Let me go to Kate Geiger on this because I've been looking at the stats. And now stats can be cold, but the unemployment rate in this county is way down, about 2 points down from where it was when Trump came in. I don't know if he had much to do with it. What else? Wages. About $1 more an hour, not a lot, but going up a little, about 4%, $1 an hour. So there's been some modest increase. What do you think about, does he care about you? Is he looking out for you?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what President Trump thinks about us, the little people, but I think anybody that runs for president cares something about the country that they live in. I think he's an economist and a businessman, and honestly, I think he sees this as a conquest. I want to be president. I want to turn this country around because the politicians, the state that this country was in when he took over was such a mess economically that, we need a miracle.
Let's talk. As I said, the unemployment is down. That means, but a lot of people say I'm working 2 jobs and not enough to work to just pay for the family costs, family expenses.
Right.
Is that what you feel it's like
Absolutely.
out here? Let me go back to Stacey. Why do you think people voted for Trump?
I think people were looking for something else. I think that the progress wasn't as fast as people thought it should have been. But when you hear this jobs, there's an S because people are working 2 jobs to make a living. That's not the way that it should be. We should have 1 job. And that increases the quality of life with families.
Why do you think you trust them over the highly educated, Jeb Bush, Mitt Romney types, Hillary Clinton? They're all Ivy Leaguer, best and the brightest. Why do they choose Trump over them?
I think he's good at what he does, rhetoric. I think he picks and pokes at certain underlying things that people have and that makes them want to come out and vote, but it's empty promises.
Well, I'm going to go to Cal in a second. I want to talk about the stuff you put up with. Trump voters. You voted for Trump, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you put up with some of that stuff because you like something else that we don't know about? For example, he calls people names. All the things you told your kids in school, don't do. Don't make fun of somebody's appearance. Don't make them feel small. Don't be a bully. Don't lie. Tell the truth. You think Trump lives up to the standard you set for your own family?
Not necessarily,
Yeah.
you know, but then again, you don't have to like everybody.
Okay, good.
He's showing results. You know, I run a small business now, and my numbers are growing. And they're growing so well, I'm able to add staff. And when I add staff, then that makes the business grow
What kicked it
even
into
more.
gear? Was it the lower taxes, or for some people, or was it the deregulation? What helped your business from Trump's point of view?
I believe people getting employed, getting higher wages, getting out and spending their money because we're
What did he
a
do to have
luxury
that
business.
happen? What did he do to make that happen?
He talked to industries and companies and got them to invest, like AK
Okay.
Steel.
How many agree with that Trump helped? How many think he didn't help? How many say he hasn't helped? What's about Cal, you've got somebody there who wants to talk. Go ahead, Cal.
Yeah, I wanted to introduce you to Dan. Dan, 2 years ago, I understand you went to vote and you had some trouble deciding. How long did you spend in the voting booth?
Eternity. Probably I had 20 minutes, half hour, a long time.
You're in a voting booth for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about?
They were terrible. I wouldn't hire either one of them to vote for or to work for my own company, let alone run a country. I thought the reason Trump is president, in my opinion, is because of his competition. Hillary was just worse. You know, we're talking about Trump. The fact of the matter is he's an egotistical, self-centered human being that happened to have a worse competitor. He's worried about one person, himself, and some of us have made the decisions to help ourselves. The reason her company's doing better is because she decided to become self-employed when a big company laid her off, let her go, left town, and she made a decision to improve her own life. Donald Trump, helping, not helping, you know, I don't know. I don't care. What I do know, I was told to ask forgiveness versus permission. So Sherrod Brown, when you go back to D.C., I want you and all your coworkers to quit stealing from me and calling it taxes. Plain and simple. Our work, you bring it different ways. I want some good options. I want some good options, and I haven't really seen them.
Let me ask you again about this decision you made, 30 minutes. Was anybody behind you yelling while you were waiting? I'm serious.
I don't know.
I'm just
They
curious.
were wondering if I was okay.
Yeah.
They were asking me to be quiet, whether they were yelling. I didn't care. Usually I would go into the booth, make a decision, say, well, you know, this, that, everything else. And this one actually mattered because I thought Gary Johnson was a good guy, but I really didn't have a use for him. And I think third parties are kind of a wasted vote.
Yeah, let me ask you about a woman candidate. Are you up for a woman candidate for president?
I want a good candidate.
How about a woman,
I don't care.
candidate?
Yes, it wouldn't bother me a bit.
Wouldn't
And I
bother you a
think
bit.
there's some good options out there, possibilities now. I haven't made a selection for 2020 yet.
What are your bets on that? Are you going to go for Trump or not?
I hope not. I hope not.
Okay, thank you. Let me go. I got to. Sherrod Brown, Senator, do you want to respond to that shot or not? You don't have to.
Well, I'll respond this way. I appreciate your
By the way,
candor.
thank you, sir, for coming, because
Sure,
we
I-
invited the other guy. He didn't show up.
Thanks. And first,
You know, that applause tells me something, and I want to read the audience. You won this state, you got reelected again here, and you're a progressive. Hillary didn't. What's the difference between you and Hillary? Why couldn't she win the state and you did? She lost it by 8 points. You won it by, I think, that amount.
Well, I wanted to start with something else, and I'm not avoiding your question, but I was just at the county offices meeting with first responders and with the Red Cross and Mayor Whaley and county commissioners. This county 3 weeks ago tonight had a level 4 tornado, and two things really inspired me. I was here right after the tornado the next day, and it amazed me that that very few people were injured and no one died in the Miami Valley, and that was because everybody from television stations and radio stations stepped up and stayed, even though they were getting the tornado warnings, stayed on the air and warned people. People went to their basements. People did what they needed to do. The first responders were there, and it was really inspiring. And second, this tornado was 3 weeks ago tonight, and this community's fighting back. the way it's come together. And that, I mean, I think you'll learn something from that. I mean, I don't have much use for Donald Trump. No surprise to this crowd. I think he's been a terrible president who's betrayed workers.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the overtime rule or picking judges has put his thumb on the scales of justice that choose corporations over workers and Wall Street over consumers.
Okay,
What I do see is, and quickly, Chris, in answer to your question, I talked about the dignity of work last year, and that's what I've seen throughout my career, in that we honor and respect work. People shouldn't have to have more than one job.
You disagree with that?
And that's the whole point.
You got somebody disagrees with you.
Sure.
Well, I just have to say, one of the things, when you're asking people, how do you feel the president cares for you? How do you know if a president cares for you? Nobody asked that question. What makes you think the president cares for you? Did he come down and have tea with you?
Well, let me ask you, because Hillary Clinton didn't come here, and a lot of people said because she didn't bother to come here in the campaign, they voted against her. So people do care.
Why do we feel that way? And let me say this: one of the reasons Trump, one of the reasons Trump is president. You talked about calling people names. Every one of them do it. They do it behind doors. He's the first one to do it out.
Who does? Who
All the politicians do that. Every politician calls other politicians names. We have them on hot mic for 30 years. They all do that. This guy at least does it up front.
Okay, let me go to, thank you. Let me go to Eunice. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
What do you think of that? There's a little rhubarb going here. I want you to respond to it. This guy says politicians, I don't know if you're in the back room listening, but you seem to know. He says in the back room they all call each other's names. So there's all kind of Pocahontas stuff going on in the back room, I guess.
If you resort to calling people names, it means you have nothing to say.
Thank you. What do you think? Let me ask you about this. Two questions that pollsters always ask people. And the reason I'm asking tonight is because they work. They tell you something. Does this politician care about people like you? That's a pretty good question. What do you think of this president and you?
Well, I'm ex-military, and I'm ex-military veteran, and I'm also a military wife, and he scares me.
Are you worried?
And I'm also tired of him referring to the military.
Are you worried
as
about the
his
Iran
military.
situation?
Oh yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let me go to Mark Welch. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I
Nice
like
to be
the
here.
tie. Very patriotic.
Thank you, sir.
Talk to me. What do you think about this discussion about who cares? I do think cares. The second question you asked, maybe it's a bigger picture for you, sir. It's macro. You'll probably like it. The question is, are we going in the right direction right now with Trump? Are we going in the right direction?
I believe we are going in the right direction with Trump. You know, sometimes you need a guy up there. You know, Trump is very disagreeable.
Yeah.
And that makes him kind of unlikable for a lot of people.
Yeah, not you.
Right? Not me.
You like
Right.
unlikable people.
Well, I mean, I'm a very agreeable person. I want to be liked, right? I don't think Trump cares. And I think that at the time that we are in our nation right now, we need a leader like that.
Yeah.
So particularly when you're going overseas and you're talking to all these other leaders who are putting their country first. I mean, what's wrong with putting America first? Because we have all of these old trade agreements that are like NAFTA.
Do you
that
think
took
he
a lot
honors?
of
Do you
jobs
think
from
he
the
honors the
United
Constitution?
States. Pardon that? What's that again?
Does he honor the Constitution?
I believe he's honored the Constitution. I think he has.
Everybody else agree?
He took an oath. He took an oath to honor the Constitution.
Okay, I got somebody. Thank you, sir. Let me go to another person here. Back here. Do you want to respond to what he just said?
I most certainly do. He does not honor the Constitution, and I can tell you a couple of places where he doesn't. Number one, Article 1, Section 9, the Emoluments Clause. Let's go for that.
Anything else? That's pretty good.
I have a pocket Constitution in every one of my purses, and I look up stuff every day. That dude lies. He lies. The FEC chair just had to call him out about breaking the law. She took an unprecedented step of going out and calling him out on publicly doing it. So don't you even tell me about
Well,
that.
he has to tell you because he believes it.
Well, he's wrong. He's
Okay,
factually
how many people
wrong.
here don't think Trump lies? How many people here don't think Trump lies? Oh, just a good question. I thought it was an interesting silence I just heard. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.